Hi everyone, I hope y'all are doing good after the new moon in Sagittarius last week. Apparently, we've been receiving the greatest solar flares since I think, like ever. I think the last solar flares that came anywhere near this intensity was about 6 years ago. But what it does is it wipes out all of the lower frequency energies, and so it's kind of like like I guess you could consider it a vacuum that's like sucking out all the low vibes, and it can be really draining. There's probably an emotional roller coaster feeling of really intense emotions and like feeling really sad and uncontrollably. It's almost like a grieving process. And then there can also be the feeling of restlessness where you have a lot of excitement, you don't know what to do with it. So expect like emotional highs and lows, and that's just part of the energies. And it's kind of like a another phase of our great awakening, and it's all in preparation for the next phase. And so we have the sun conjunct the galactic center. So if anybody has planets or points like your sun, moon, Mercury, Jupiter, any of those planets aligned with the galactic center at 27 degrees, or if you have a rising, if your ascendant or your midheaven is at 27 degrees, then you are part of that group that is meant to merge science and spirituality. So there could be a lot of like mind-blowing discoveries that you're having right now, and it can be overwhelming, for sure. So like don't feel like you have to um, like dive into everything immediately right now, especially when we just came off of a Sun square Neptune aspect. Like that's a really kind of draining energy. Neptune likes to dissolve, and especially in Pisces, it's very potent because Neptune is the ruler, modern ruler of Pisces, and the Sun in Sagittarius wants to be out there and like be in all the things and just wants to be that busybody, like be everywhere at the same time kind of energy. But like in this case, since Neptune is at home in Pisces, Neptune is going to kind of take over that energy. So if you need to rest. Shame in resting. You need to take care of the vessel for sure. But yeah, this conjunction, this aspect, what's going on right now is really letting us look at the big picture. Sagittarius is all about big picture concepts, and so we're really understanding or realizing what our place is in the world, and like what we're doing or what we have been doing, how it really fits into the grand scheme of things. And you can kind of consider this whole week actually as an initiation process. So this week there's going to be several aspects. Like for instance, Venus is going to be opposite Uranus. Venus, the planet of values, what we desire, relationships, how we relate, and it's going to be opposite Uranus, which is the planet of sudden changes, aha moments, unexpected events. And so when they're opposing each other, this can, like, I consider this to be like volatility in values. So volatility in values can look like sudden epiphanies of realizing your value or what you no longer value. And Uranus tends to shake things up, shake things out of stagnation, and for the better. Uranus is like that genius energy where it's like that, the sudden aha moments. It's like lightning strikes, and then you're able to discover things that will bring you to another level. Those can be, kind of shocks to the system because they are so sudden, but it's really it's universe, helping us out. Universe is the planet that kind of, fixes things. Like if there's something that's stagnant, it's going to like shock things out of stagnation. And so with it opposite Venus at 19 degrees on the 20th, that's going to stir things up. And I mean, it really goes along with the conjunction of Sun and the Galactic Center, because all these energies are being cleared out, which means it's allowing room for new concepts and ideas to come in. And so it's like, okay, suddenly I need to, quit my job or end this relationship or remove myself from this group. Like if things are not in alignment, then you're going to get those impulses to do something about it. And it's, all in divine timing. And with the solstice coming up on the 21st, this is kind of like a recalibration of our light. For us in the Northern Hemisphere, this is going to be gaining light. So thank goddess we're going to be gaining more light. I feel like ever since daylight savings, it's just been so difficult to adjust to how dark it gets so early in the evening. Like before 5 o'clock, it's already sunset. So now, in the Northern Hemisphere, with the Capricorn solstice, we're going to be gaining light. And, you can kind of think of this metaphorically as a recalibration of our own light within us. And come spring, we'll be at an Aries new moon again, when, things will be fresh and new. And that is the actual astrological new year, when you can set new intentions. January 1st, when traditionally people would be encouraged to, set your New Year's resolutions. The energy isn't actually conducive to setting new resolutions on January 1st. It's actually April 1st, or the spring equinox, the new moon after the spring equinox. So right now we're really trying to take a look and review, especially with Mercury retrograde. We're reviewing, reevaluating, revising all of our plans, and the projects that we've been working on this whole year, maybe even like previous years. We're going back and really combing through what we really want to hold on to and what needs to just go, because we're no longer in alignment with them. And so it's probably going to feel overwhelming, because we've gone through so many changes over the past year, and especially over the past few months, with especially with these intense solar flares. We're getting information, through portals, and time is moving so much faster now. Now that we have this new information, we're able to understand new concepts and cut through the bullshit. And now that we have this new knowledge, our values are changing. And that's the thing with Venus opposing Uranus. It's like volatility in values, like sudden changes in what we care about. And so we're we might be going back to the drawing board, and that's okay. We are allowed to change our minds and rewrite our objectives and our goals and our mission. It's all in divine timing. There's no rush. Everything happens when it's meant to happen. As long as we stay in integrity, and we're not spiritually bypassing, using divine timing as an excuse, using Mercury retrograde as an excuse to slack off. Integrity is super important with this particular retrograde, because it is, it's starting in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn's all about integrity and diligence. And so on the 22nd, actually, we're going to have the Sun and Mercury conjoining at 0 degrees and 39 minutes on the 22nd, and in the morning, 10:53 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so when any planet connects with the Sun, it's like receiving these radiant insights. These, the Sun is considered to be the god of our solar system, and so, or the king. It's like you're getting messages through the heart of the Sun. And so these are really important messages from God. And if you really want to honor this particular aspect at 10:53 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the 22nd of December, it's kind of like that energy of taking a moment of silence, or you can also consider it as, shut up and listen. Just allow the messages between Mercury and the Sun to really come through. There's a lot of power in silence, and so writing, just, what is it called, when you're free association writing, messages can also come through that way. And as Mercury moves backwards into Sagittarius, so it's going to come, just moving backwards, it's going to get to 0 degree Capricorn, while the Sun is moving from Sagittarius into Capricorn. Capricorn comes after Sagittarius. They're going to be like crossing paths, and so Mercury's going to carry those messages into Sagittarius, and then Mercury's going to be in a Jupiter ruled sign. And so Jupiter and Mercury are really big players in this retrograde phase. They're making aspects, like beautiful aspects. Like Jupiter is connected to the pineal gland, and Mercury is connected to the throat chakra. So when those two are working together, there's a lot that can be done. And Mercury's going to move back into Sagittarius, which is a Jupiter ruled sign. And so Mercury's in Sagittarius and Jupiter's in Taurus. They don't exactly share, you know, Taurus and Sagittarius don't exactly share anything in common. Like Sagittarius is a fire sign, Taurus is an earth sign. Sagittarius is a masculine energy, Taurus is a feminine energy. One's ruled by Jupiter, the other one is ruled by Venus. I mean, they're very like of benefic energies. So like that's awesome. It can also kind of compete. Like I feel like there's kind of like there can be a misunderstanding between the two, like going overboard, and then like really, you know, that indulgence element to Taurus. And so, like that's another thing with Venus opposing Uranus in Taurus. There's the focus of, and Venus is in Scorpio right now, so it's really asking us to look at what we are still holding, what we're holding on to, and what needs to go. And yeah, with Mercury and Sagittarius, it's going to be squaring Neptune again, and Neptune squaring Mercury. That can be a beautiful energy for creatives and artists. And so there's like other mutable signs such as Gemini and Virgo, as well as Sagittarius and Pisces, can use the square between Mercury and Neptune in creative ways. So if there's a creative outlet, making music, you know, making art, dancing, whatever it might be, that kind of energy is definitely encouraged during the squares. And it can be for the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. This can be awesome energy to really manifest what we are, like just pay attention to your dreams, like what we are envisioning for ourselves. And so, okay, it's going to go back to 22 degrees when Mercury retrogrades back into Sagittarius. But yeah, like I said, all of these energies kind of comprehensively is asking us to prepare for big changes. Like things are going to break down so that we have more breakthroughs. And I'm sure this isn't going to be the last moment of awakening, like with these great solar flares. It's been like pretty active lately, and with the Galactic Center at 27 degrees right now, the sun being there. And there's going to be even additional planets passing over that point. So we still have Mars that's going to meet the Galactic Center, and then of course the moon is going to come back around next month, probably in about 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. So the moon's going to be with Mars at the Galactic Center, and then eventually Venus is going to move into Sagittarius. And so all these activations at the Galactic Center is going to further activate our big picture awareness, and we'll really be getting those, you know, downloads and desires to really see the big picture and connect with what else is out there. And it's, you know, something to embrace. It's really exciting, and things are going to change for the better. I mean, there's always going to be that uncomfortable feeling because we've been in this stagnation for a while. And I don't know, like you can probably feel like there's something percolating. We don't know what it is yet. But the important thing is that we need to stay centered and not get distracted, not be pulled out into like the propaganda of what's going on around us. You know, like easier said than done, of course. But I mean, it takes practice, and yeah, there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of different ways to like stay centered. You know, listening to music, and you know, like I mentioned before, like I've been listening to music without lyrics, and you know, I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but the Lakota flute playing. There's like a 9-hour YouTube, like a non-stop YouTube video of flute music, and so that's one way to do it. Just really having like the mindfulness of whatever you're doing, you know, candle gazing, meditation, you know, just when you're out and about, going for your walks, instead of having headphones in and listening to a podcast. Like, I don't, you know, I definitely do that sometimes, especially when I'm walking in the city, but like in nature, to really stay centered and like connected to yourself. I mean, it's actually fun to take a look at the birds and like hummingbirds and just like the colors, you know, the shapes in the clouds, you know, the different formations that the birds are making. Like anything, like nature is actually a lot more entertaining and wholesome and, you know, like stress relieving. Like it lowers your cortisol when, I mean, I guess I'll speak for myself, but like when I pay attention to nature, it's just a lot more, it just gives me a feeling of harmony and peace and like all that good stuff. So, I mean, I definitely recommend it, you know. It's like once you notice nature, nature notices you. Or once you pay attention to the universe pays attention to you. I feel like um, that's definitely true. Because it's amazing how sometimes you can like just look up and there's this beautiful, almost like a show in the sky that just was created for that particular moment when you happen to be looking up. And it's worth experimenting with, you know, like why not? If you know you haven't done it before. Yeah, so there's, as usual, a lot going on. One more aspect to mention is the Mercury retrograde, and it's making a cooperative aspect to Saturn in Pisces, also known as a sextile. And with Saturn and Capricorn sextiling, with Mercury and Capricorn sextiling Saturn in Pisces at 2 degrees on the 21st. It's kind of like a delegating of duties, like old duties, since Mercury is retrograde. So it's like Capricorn being that energy of authoritarianism, or, you know, like being the authority of things and organizing and being very efficient with your words. I consider this to be like a delegating of duties, because Saturn also represents diligence and duties and responsibilities. And so there can be another revisiting of old projects, and, you know, having the diligence and consistency and integrity in carrying those things out and seeing those things through. Yeah, there's a lot of energy being moved, and so, I mean, if you're wiped out, don't feel bad about resting. You know, that's what it's called for right now. So, I mean, your mind, body, and soul will appreciate you for it. So don't feel bad. Don't beat yourself up over it. And if you're going through this, that means like everybody, you know, the collective is also going through it. So no need to apologize. Like, it is what it is. People who really, you know, kind of like have your back will definitely understand. So I hope that made sense. And yeah, thank you for listening. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions, or if you're interested and, you know, want to take advantage of those particular specials. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions, or if you're interested, or yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Hi everyone. I just wanted to mention a couple of things about this week. It's been kind of, I know a lot of people who I've spoke with have been feeling the same, and just feeling like, you know, yeah, having that strong spirit but weak flesh. And it's probably, you know, of course, a combination of different things. I mean, we had the Sun in Sagittarius squaring the Moon in Pisces. Well, there was that. And then also the Sun squaring the Neptune in Pisces. And so Pisces energy tends to kind of dissolve things. It's kind of murky, foggy, and just wants to rest, you know, like just wants to kind of escape into dreamland. And the square to the Sun in Sagittarius, like having all that intentional energy to be everywhere all at the same time as Sagittarius likes to do. It's kind of like our goals are thwarted, and on top of that we had like the great solar flashes, and that was the solar flares also wiping out like the lower density energies, and so that's been very draining. That started over the weekend, and I feel like it's still kind of going on. Maybe it's like, you know, teetering off, but still very draining energy. And so when this kind of event, like it's supposed to be the strongest solar flares in like 6 years, and so that's kind of like the universe really taking the initiative and, you know, helping us out. Really, if you think about it, it's like they're probably watching us from afar and like shaking their head like, okay, we need to
the center of the galaxy.
In our galaxy is a black hole.
Yeah, with the solar flares coinciding
happening,
coinciding
with
square
the conjunction of the sun,
and then also
the
Galactic
sun
Center point.
That's
a lot of information yesterday or today.
Like
Today's
universal
Tuesday,
wisdom,
the
just like
20th,
these knowings,
the 19th,
and it's really
Tuesday,
broadening our horizons.
The sun
for
at
sure. We're able
27
to,
degrees
see the big
is
picture,
see
how
how
conjunct the
we fit
Galactic
into
Center,
the
which
grand
is
scheme of
a point
things
in space.
And I mean, along with this new
that
information, it can be very draining because, like, with this new information, we're also being called to make some decisions, you know. You know, and like these decisions are, it feels like it's, you know, time is of the essence. Like we have to get this done, and but like we have to remember that, you know, we have time. There's no rush, but of course, like the sooner the better. Like the sooner we get a water filter, like the less our pineal gland is fucked with, you know, and get rid of the toothpaste that has the fluoride. I mean, actually, you can actually put it in your toilet bowl. I mean, the bowl of the toilet, where, like, in the back where you take off the lid, poke a hole in the toothpaste and it'll clean your toilet bowl. Like, that's how much fluoride is in there. It'll remove the crap on the walls. I mean, to think that we have been told that it's okay, like FDA approved, to use this in our body. So yeah, the sooner the better, but also, like, don't beat yourself up over these things. Mercury is still retrograde, Jupiter is retrograde, but they are making a nice aspect to one another, also known as a trine, and they are in earth signs. So when planets are in earth signs, the what we can do to take advantage of that energy when it's in earth signs is, you know, tend to our earthly responsibilities, you know, like our tangible responsibilities, like cleaning up our spaces, you know, taking care of paperwork, especially in Capricorn. Mercury in Capricorn is really asking us to get organized. And then Jupiter in Taurus is asking us
Pluto
to
is in Capricorn
pay
at
attention
29
to
degrees,
how
and so
it's going to affect
the authorities
our
really trying to
well-being,
hang on
our
for dear life,
stability.
like trying to hang on
So yeah,
to
the
the control
Mercury
that we've
trine
had for way too
Jupiter
long
aspect I consider to be like
and so
strategies
it's not
for
completely,
stability.
like, we're not completely
in the
so
clear. It will move into Aquarius.
we do have that going on
around the 23rd
and
or 24th of
yeah, another
January.
thing about the
And
Galactic
it'll be
Center,
in Aquarius
if you
until
have
September or
anything
so,
at 27
and then it'll
degrees
retrograde back to 29 degrees Capricorn,
Sagittarius
for
like
our
about
sun,
3
moon,
months.
and so
We're
we're
not
not
completely in the clear,
mid-heaven,
but just know that
Jupiter, Mars,
the
any of those
Capricornian
planets,
energies of authority
at that 27 degree
and
patriarchy
Sagittarius
and,
degree,
then you're a part of that group that
dictatorships
is those are
being called
to
progress.
I mean, they've been on their way out, but like now it's
kind
kind of like marry science and
process of
spirituality
really
and move the
excavating
forward. That area of so you
of the
can
collective.
like
And I think these
discover
solar
aha moments,
definitely a part of it.
a part
during
of the
this
29
time,
degree Capricorn,
and
it can be. It might be overwhelming, but just take it as like a leveling up, you can say, and it's just gonna, get better and better, in my opinion. Is having connections to Libra, and Libra's all about relationships and keeping the peace and people pleasing. So that's something to also kind of reflect on to see how our relationships have been doing, like how we've been participating in these relationships or not. Yeah, something to reflect on. And then, yeah, another thing this week is the winter solstice. In the Northern Hemisphere, this is us like gaining more light. Thank God. Like, since daylight savings, it's been really difficult with the sun setting a lot earlier, like setting before 5 p.m. So I'm going to be so grateful when we start gaining light. And it's also kind of like a figurative comparison to ourselves, like with the solar flares, like getting rid of the lower density energies and having all this new universal wisdom coming through Capricorn, the Galactic Center, like all of this new information, having this bigger picture and expanding our horizons. This is really playing into us gaining more light as well, like getting rid of the dark energies, is lower, like additional lower density energies of aha moments, like detaching and like Venus opposing cutting the cords like to those heavier representing our values and our so that we can actually allow to shine, opposing the planet of sudden shine bright changes, aha moments, and like when lightning strikes. That's exciting, right? I'm trying to remember that song my lives. Some major changes here, like when lightning like holy shift, like crashes, and then the 22nd. So Mercury is going backwards through Capricorn, and it's moving towards Sagittarius, and then the Sun is moving toward Capricorn, away from Sagittarius, and on the 22nd, Mercury and the Sun, or the Sun and Mercury, meet at 0 degrees, 39 minutes, at 10:53 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So the Sun is considered to be like Cazimi, and this is when that planet, in this case Mercury, receives messages from the king, from the heart of the sun. And so we can get really important, useful, and in the sign of Capricorn, practical messages. And if this is something to kind of experiment with too, like, taking a moment of silence, or, basically like shutting up and listening during that time at 10:53 a.m. on the 22nd, Pacific Standard. So like adjust to your time zone. But yeah, taking a moment to really be quiet and see what comes in, like not overthinking it, just like closing your eyes and taking some deep breaths. I mean, there's also the practice of free association writing. That's something to play around with too. And also dreams, like there could be a possibility of receiving messages in your dreams. So that's going to be, a moment of clarity, and it can, come unexpectedly. I mean, everything is so very, like things are moving along so quickly, it seems, and when we get new information, it can be like sudden pivots, like you change direction, and which is totally fine. Like we can receive new information and change our mind and go in a different direction. And so, yeah, there's just a lot happening per usual energetically. So, yeah, enjoy the energies. You're not alone. Like it is definitely that feeling of strong spirit, weak flesh. I tried getting some shit done, like putting myself in front of a camera for the past couple days, but it's the flesh was weak. But yeah, take advantage of the Mercury
Considered
retrograde.
to be
Like, you know, the god of the stars. You know, like it's considered to be like the king. And so when any planet conjoins